For somebody that is into what we're saying, they're going to adopt a diet on this continuum, but they're still going to include some plants. What plants would you consider you're not eating them, but okay for that person? And then what things do we totally have to avoid within that realm?
So you want to focus on the lower carbohydrate plants. Also, I think there is an argument to be made to focus on the parts of plants that plants actually designed to be eaten. My good friend Paul Saladino talks a lot about fruit, and I completely agree with him. When the fruit is perfectly ripe, it does not contain any of the anti nutrients or phytochemicals that the plant puts in every other part of its body, including its babies, which are the seeds of the nuts, right? And so if you're going to eat seeds or nuts, they probably need to be at least soaked, if not sprouted, if not roasted, because when you do that, that processing that we've been doing for thousands of years is going to greatly decrease the level of oxalates, lectins, phytates in the seed or the nut, right? If you're going to just don't eat raw plant leaves and plant bodies, don't eat it raw. Never eat raw seeds, never eat raw vegetables. If anybody remembers going to their grandmothers or great grandmothers for Sunday dinner when you were a little kid, what did grandma do to the vegetables? You always had meat and three. That was Sunday dinner. But the vegetables were cooked to death. And she didn't do that because she was a bad cook. She did that because that's how she was trained to cook by her grandmother, because they knew, because they had been poor enough to know that if you eat beans that have not been soaked and cooked enough, it will make you sick. If you eat any vegetable that raw, if you eat enough of it often enough, it will cause inflammation in your body because of the anti-nutrients and the phytochemicals that the plants put there as a form of self-defense. So if you're going to eat vegetables, cook them, at least steam them, if not cook them. If you're going to eat nuts or seeds, soak them, sprout them, roast them. That's going to knock down the inflammatory phytochemicals to the point where most people can ingest them without seemingly having any inflammation. But even then, Jesse, some people they just cannot eat beans, nuts, and seeds at all, or they will have gut inflammation. Nisha, my wife, loves turnip greens and spinach. But if she eats that, now that her diet is clean and her body is as uninflamed as it's ever been in her entire adult life, she feels like she's coming down with the flu if she eats turnip greens. And she's repeated this from multiple different sources, multiple different times, not as a scientist, but just because she freaking loves turnip greens and wants to figure out a way to eat them. And if she does, she literally has joint aches for 2 or 3 days like she's coming down with the flu. She now knows that, because one of the final things I want to touch on is that when you eat a proper human diet, it lowers the inflammation in your body enough, and it helps your gut brain and your body brain connection reform to the point where you can get feedback when you eat or drink something. And you probably experienced this in your life. You're like, yeah, back in my early 20s, if I'd eaten or drank that, I'd detect no feedback because I was just eating a junk diet, basically. And so my body was so polluted, so inflamed. I couldn't tell if turnip greens caused flu-like symptoms. I just thought I was coming down with the flu. But now, if you eat or drink the wrong thing, your body talks to you, and it's like, wrong choice. Don't do that. And then you can put that on the list of no-go foods. And in many cases, that includes foods that any nutritionist or dietitian would say, oh, that's a green light food. You eat as often as you can. But now you're able to detect, yeah, I know it's low in carbs. I know it's nutrient dense, and I know we've been eating it for hundreds of years, if not thousands, but it causes inflammation in my body. And therefore, that goes on my red light list. I'm not going to eat that unless I'm starving to death, in which case, eat all the rice and beans you can because you don't want to starve.
All right, pivoting off of this plant piece, last question for you. I know one of your pillars is seed oils are out, but how do you feel about the quote-unquote healthier plant oils, coconut oil, avocado oil? Something you ever include? It doesn't sound like it, And then for others that are transitioning, how do you feel?
I'm not offended or I don't fear coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil if they're actually real and unadulterated. Okay, and that in the United States, that's a large caveat when it comes to olive oil and avocado oil, isn't it? Olive oil is one of the most adulterated, counterfeited things you can buy at the supermarket. Even today, after all the big hit pieces have come out, this problem is not fixed. If you're buying olive oil from Italy or Sicily or Spain, it's 80% chance that it has been adulterated with either soybean or canola oil on its long journey from around the Mediterranean to your kitchen in wherever America. So if you like olive oil, I'm not opposed to them. I never include them purposefully in my diet, but I think they're fine. If somebody just loves olive oil, I think it's fine to include some. I answered a question last night at an event here in the next county over. Somebody's like, "Yeah, but what about coconut oil and MCT oil? I've heard so much good stuff about it." I'm like, "Yeah, no doubt." And so I'd much prefer you use coconut oil than avocado, than canola or soybean or peanut or safflower or sunflower. But that doesn't make it optimal. That just makes it way less bad. That's kind of where I put. I think they're fine. I'm not denigrating those seed, and those are more fruit seed oils or fruit oils, right? Because all of those things are fruits or the coconut's kind of a weird plant. It's hard to quantify what the coconut is, but those are not vegetable oils. Those are fruit oils, and you can also make all four of those on your kitchen stove, right? You can make coconut oil, avocado, olive. And people have made those over just an open fire for hundreds, if not thousands of years. You don't have to have a chemical factory to make olive oil or avocado or coconut oil. You can make those yourself on your own stove. And so that to me tells me, okay, those are much less processed. We've been eating them for at least 1,000 years, if not longer. So we've had much more time to kind of acclimate to them, right? And so I think those are fine, but I don't in any way think that those are necessary for optimal health, like many people will still say. Animal fats are going to give you all the monounsaturated fatty acids you need. Animal fats are going to give you all of the essential fatty acids that you need. Animal fats are going to include so many vitamins in them and minerals that you can't really get from plant oils at all unless they're fortified. And anytime you have to fortify food, that means it was junk to start with. Isn't that right? That kind of makes common sense, doesn't it? And so animal fats are all you need. If you love the taste of olive oil, fine, drizzle it. That's fine. And you can actually drizzle olive oil on your meat and eggs, Jesse, and then you can tell your doctor you're eating a Mediterranean diet.
Somebody that's tuned into this point, they're new to this way of eating and living. They like what they're hearing, but they're on the fence. What do you say to them in closing right now to give them that inspiration to take action?
So, what I'm recommending to you right now, and what Jesse has given me the platform to recommend and reach you right now, is this is not a fad diet. This is not a new invention. This is not nothing that I recommend you eat is made in a chemical factory. There is no ability to scale this up and make $1 billion and have a huge food industry that destroys planet Earth based on the foods I'm telling you to eat. Okay. This is something that humans have been eating for at least 12,000 years, if not much longer. Right. So that's the first thing is dispel the myth that keto or carnivore is some fad diet. This is literally the oldest diet known to humanity. This is the original diet. Okay. So don't think this is a fad. So by definition, it cannot be dangerous. It cannot be bad for you because the four things that humans have been doing for the longest period of time as a species is breathing air, drinking water, playing in the sun, and eating meat. Those are the four things that we have been doing for the 250 to 300,000 years that we have been Homo sapiens sapien. There was no canola. There was no soybean. There was no cottonseed, Crisco. There was no plant butter. What the hell? None of that stuff was in existence. So what I'm telling you is not eat this new fad diet. I'm saying let's go back and eat the original diet. It'd be like telling my cows in the pasture, why don't you start eating grass again? Because that worked real damn good for you guys for a long time. That's what I'm telling you to do. And also I'm saying you don't have to buy anything from me. You don't have to click any affiliate link. You don't have to buy any line of supplements. You just eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs and try to include 2 to 4 ounces of liver once or twice a week. And your health is going to start to transform in a way that you didn't even really think was still possible at your age. And all I want you to do is try it for 90 days. You can do anything for 90 days. You can, and if you're like, damn, that's a long time, then do it for 30 days. Just do it for 30 days and see what your body tells you. See what kind of signal you get back from your body. What happens on the scale? Take your body measurements. What happens to your measurements? What happens to your strength, your mental clarity? What happens to your stamina while you're doing that? And don't undereat the fat. Fat is good for you. Fat is not bad for you. That's my pitch right there, Jesse. Not a penny to be made by Dr. Berry or by Jesse. Just try it for 30, 60, 90 days. And then at the end of that, if you feel terrible, then fine. Dr. Berry was wrong. That's not for you. Go back to eating your Cheetos and Ding Dongs and Pepsi Cola.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch a full episode. I'll see you over there.
Dispel the myth that keto or carnivore is some fad diet. This is literally the oldest diet known to humanity. It cannot be bad for you because the 4 things that humans have been doing for the longest period of time.